Hi, I'm Kang, and the new Grand Theft Auto game has just came out, and it's incredible! 3 protagonists, a great story, a massive world, and an online mode. I can't wait for the single-player DLC. Hi, I'm Kang a year later, and the not-so-new Grand Theft Auto game has just been re-released on next-gen consoles, and it's completely different. Watch, I'll prove it to you.
Yeah, that's what they all say. One last time.
See? Couldn't do that in the original. Man, I can't wait for GTA 6.
Hello, Franklin.
What's up?
Okay, Rockstar, it's been nearly a decade. I think it's time to move on to a different GTA.
That ought to put the coyote in the chicken coop, huh?
A remaster of 3 games that are 2 decades old is not what I had in mind. But it's better than playing this for another 10 years, so I'll buy it. What is it, like 30 bucks? Hi, I'm Kang, and I just bought the GTA Definitive Edition. Ignore that sound. Ignore that case. I'm playing this on the PS5. Oh shit. Okay, look. There are 3 games that are fucking decades old that play the same way as the original, alright? I'm broke. Get off my back. Remasters are a beautiful thing. You take an ass-old game that everyone loved back in the day, or a game that released a year ago if you're The Last of Us, fix up the graphics, audio, and gameplay so it doesn't feel like it's a decade old, and then release it to commercial success. Rockstar only got the memo for one of those requirements. Grand Theft Auto The Trilogy Definitive Edition, a remaster of 3 GTA games released on the PS2 and OG Xbox. That's right, there was 3 GTA games for 1 generation of consoles. How about that, Grand Theft Auto 5? These 3 games released to critical acclaim back in the early 2000s and are still some of the most beloved GTA games of all time along with 4. I'm leaving this one out of pure spite. Although even the most diehard fans have to admit, the trilogy has aged, not only graphically but gameplay wise as well. I mean, don't get me wrong, what these games did is still very impressive, especially for the PS2, but god is it clunky. The driving feels fine, but everything else about the gameplay is just so bad. Hand-to-hand combat is awful, especially in GTA 3 where you just run in circles swinging at the air until one of your punches connect. Shooting is also terrible, with assault rifles and snipers having absolutely no aim assist, so your aim is just constantly swerving left to right, making certain missions nigh on impossible. Camera controls in 3 and Vice City are non-existent, and they're locked in one spot with no rotations at all. San Andreas thankfully has camera controls, but they're fucking inverted, so I don't even know if it counts. Even basic shit like sprinting just feels so off. I'm looking at you, Tommy Bolt Rossetti. And the most obvious of all is the graphics. Dear Lord. I mean, they look fine for the era. Hell, they look pretty damn impressive for the PS2 era. But god, do these look awful today. Just look at poor Claude Speed over here. You could probably accidentally cut yourself on his hair with how sharp those polygons are. These games are great, and I love and respect them to death, but it's clear that a remaster was needed. And Rockstar, smelling money for almost no effort, gave fans exactly what they wanted, as leaks began to spread about a remaster for the games in the works, before officially being revealed by Rockstar themselves. Hooray, the fans thought! It'll be available not only on console and PC, but iOS and Android as well. And the crowd stopped cheering, and got really sad and quiet. Why? I'm all about games coming out for more systems so more people can experience them, but fuck mobile gaming. But the fact that these games were coming out on mobile instantly made people worried, considering that mobile devices are only so powerful and can't handle good-looking graphics. So people began to assume the worst, which is just the original games upscaled to HD. Thankfully, our fears were quelled a bit as a trailer came out showing the graphics, and people's thoughts were, well, it's kinda... Opinions were mixed. Some liked the more cartoony approach, some thought it was lazy, but those opinions didn't matter considering that the game came out like 2 fucking weeks later. And it was lazy. Let's start off with GTA 3, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't get very far into this one. I get it, it's a great game and the first truly open world game, but it's just not very fun anymore. It's aged the worst by far out of the entire trilogy, and it doesn't help that Claude is fucking mute for the entire game, making him the most boring protagonist in maybe the entire franchise. And missions too are boring as hell, only getting better during the final half of the game. Thankfully, the remaster improves on GTA 3 greatly, adding stuff like actual aim assist for weapons, but nothing to hand-to-hand combat. You still fight like 2 drunk dads that are blindfolded. You can set waypoints on the map, and the driving controls have been moved to the triggers, which feels way more modern. You're also able to actually rotate the camera 360 degrees, unlike the original, which, like I said before, was locked in one spot. Graphically, GTA 3 looks really nice in my opinion, and it might be the best looking out of the entire trilogy.
Claude's model looks clean as all hell, even if his hair is still daggers. The cars in the entire city looks really nice too, and that's it. Anybody who's not Claude Speed just looks fucking weird in this remaster, like Tony Cipriani, having the wrinkles on his forehead drawn on with fucking Sharpie. Random civilians too just look off. I mean, they look better than they did in the original game. Obviously, in the original game there was like 5 character models for civilians that were all just reused over and over again, creating a lot of clones walking down the street. In the remaster, they fixed that. How did they fix it? Well, by changing the color of the civilians' clothes. And that's all they did. No new civilians, no nothing, just a change of clothes. This is as lazy as you can get. Actually, that's not true, because you can get even lazier by not improving the AI at all. And that's exactly what they did. AI has been left untouched and is still the same brain-dead PS2 AI, leading to situations like this.
My husband will kill you! You can't! Loser! My husband will kill you! Loser! My husband will kill you!
Yeah, this seems like your average traffic in New York. They couldn't even be bothered to add some sort of aim or marker for grenades, making missions like taking out the laundry still frustrating as all hell. Yeah, this is the mission where I stopped playing. GTA 3, I love and respect you, you changed the gaming industry forever, but your successors are way better than you. Vice City, the game that introduced me to songs from the 80s, and I have never been the same since. Too bad, half of this game's soundtrack has been removed, so you have to listen to BS like this.
Jimmy, tidy your room and go to bed.
I'm so sick of this. I keep telling you I've got us there to see. I look 12, but I'm a 42-year-old investment banker. I want to go out and get laid.
Oh, yeah, and I'm Santa Claus. Now, tidy your room.
Asshole.
The first GTA game I've ever played, and definitely one of my favorites, and I was really hoping that this remaster would clean up some of the age off of this game and make it feel more modern and playable. Did it do that? Well, let's watch this clip.
This doesn't look like the place. I'm lost now.
Stop crying, baby face.
You want to be a hero? I'll let you die.
They basically did the same thing that they did for GTA 3 here, such as improving the graphics, being able to rotate the camera, and that's about it. Everything else in this game is a copy and paste from the original version, including the AI as you just saw. Guns still have the garbage lock-on aim that they had in the original version, only this time instead of it being a little circle to signify who you're targeting, it's a really weird looking outline that looks like a placeholder for actual targeting. Speaking of placeholders, look at that icon. Do you recognize where that icon is from? It's the fist icon from San Andreas. In fact, all of Vice City's icons are reused icons from San Andreas and GTA 3. Why? GTA 3 got to keep all of its icons, so did San Andreas. Why did Vice City get shifted with reused assets? It's not that big of a deal, in fact I don't really care that much and I doubt half the population cares, but it just goes to show how fucking lazy Rockstar was with this remaster. Speaking of which, you still don't have their famous lock-on system that's been used in every single one of their games ever since GTA 4. So when you're using ARs and snipers, it can still be really hard to land your shots. Although it does seem like there is some minor aim assist for these weapons in the remaster, because I was able to land my shots a lot easier than I was in the original, where if I tried to make a minor adjustment, my aim would fly off in the opposite direction. And while I am glad that they gave these guns a little bit of aim assist, it's the bare fucking minimum that they could do for a remaster. This is 2021 now, not 2002. And even with 2 decades passing, we still don't have things like a cover system that every Rockstar game has now. Meaning that gunfights still consist of you just running left and right hoping not to get shot, making missions like Death Row still frustrating as all hell. I mean, a cover system would have put this game closer to a remake, I guess, since Rockstar would have had to put some actual work into it, but it still would have been appreciated, because without any other improvements like a cover system, Vice City just feels like a 20-year-old game, and so does GTA 3, which is what a remaster tries not to do. Thankfully, the graphics look great, just like they did in 3, and Vice City looks absolutely beautiful, especially at nighttime, with those 80s neon lights blasting. I also love Tommy Vercetti's redesign. I have seen some people hating on it, but I don't see the issue. I think he looks great. He still sprints like the Flash though, which still feels janky as all hell, but who cares about the sprinting? I know the question on everyone's mind. Has Tommy learned how to swim in the past 2 decades? The answer? This would be a great time to move on to San Andreas. And the final GTA game to release on the PS2 and OG Xbox. That's right, this is the final one. No other GTA game has been released on the PS2 and OG Xbox. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, probably the most beloved game in this collection. And while I never spent as much time in San Andreas compared to Vice City, I have to say it's aged amazingly well compared to the others. While you can't tell that it's a 2-decade-old game, with the graphics and gameplay being pretty wonky, I still think the game's aged really well. You got better aim assist, actual camera controls, more realistic driving and sprinting, side activities like working out, being able to create unique outfits and haircuts like this one. San Andreas was insanely innovative for the early 2000s, and like I said before, the most modern game in the trilogy by far. Not much work would have been needed to make San Andreas a great remaster, which is a message that Rockstar apparently took to heart. Because you could tell that San Andreas' remaster has the least amount of effort put into it by far. Everything about this remaster just looks so off. Especially the character models just look awful. They all look so weird and janky, especially CJ. Look at him. What the fuck did they do to his face? Just look at him doing benches. Good lord. And they even screwed up the world by removing that orange tint that San Andreas was known for. Animations and cutscenes still look janky as all hell, maybe worse than the original sometimes. I mean, they look bad in the other 2 remasters, but here it's even more noticeable. Just look at this fucking slow motion handshake. The audio too sounds fucking abysmal in San Andreas. Just listen to the difference going from cutscene to gameplay.
Take this paint and go hit shit up. Start with our own set first.
Later on, we spread out, take the whole hood back.
You already spreading out, fat man. Let's play. Let's see what you got, poor chop. Hey, wait up.
Ah, thought you'd hang with your brother, huh?
My god! I mean, the other 2 games also had really bad audio, especially noticeable from cutscene to gameplay, but I don't know, San Andreas just sounds way worse. I mean, it's still great, it's still San Andreas, great story, and also it's still a lot of fun, but I really wish that they put more effort into it. But that's not only a message for San Andreas' remaster, but the remaster as a whole. These games deserve more effort. These are 3 of the most iconic GTA games of all time, and they really deserve better than this. I would have preferred a whole remake, but I get it, that takes actual work, and that's a no-no for Rockstar nowadays. I just wish that they had implemented something like a cover system or remade the cutscenes so that the characters don't look like sentient pieces of string cheese. Or, at the very fucking least, do the bare minimum of releasing the game in a playable state. Yep, I went this entire video without mentioning the bugs in this game, and there's a lot of them. In fact, I crashed 3 times on Grand Theft Auto 3. Very funny pun you did there, Rockstar. What wasn't funny was losing an hour of progress. I also crashed on San Andreas twice, and thankfully never crashed on Vice City. But I was one of the lucky ones because I didn't have to deal with other horrific glitches, like this nightmare fuel. Apparently, if you look back while riding a quad bike in San Andreas, this will be the result. Thank you very much. I will now be discarding all evidence of San Andreas' existence. You've also got GTA 4 Swing of Death, but with a truck instead of a swing. God's Second Coming, only to leave us lowly mortals in a car. Ambulances deciding who gets to survive. CJ entering his final form. Ghost walls, breakdancing cars, terrorism, and the most shocking glitch of all, Tommy Vercetti learning how to swim. But we're not done there, because I mentioned earlier that some of the character models look bad, but I've been hiding the worst for you, because oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. They added Mr. fucking Bean into this game. The worst is still yet to come though, because if you bought this game on PC, which I was one of the lucky ones and bought it on the PS5, but if you got it on PC, you could even play it for like the entire first day because the Rockstar launcher was down. So if you bought the game, you couldn't play it because Rockstar's shitty launcher didn't work. But once the Rockstar launcher finally got back up online, you still couldn't play the game because, as stated here,
the Rockstar Games launcher is back online. However, Grand Theft Auto: The Trilogy Definitive Edition will remain unavailable to play or purchase as we work to remove some data files that were unintentionally included in the new versions of these games.
So what were those data files that were unintentionally included? I'll let you think about this for a second. It was the fucking hot coffee mod that got the game an AO rating and was then removed 2 fucking decades ago. How does that even happen? I can't even begin to wrap my head around how the hell you accidentally put that back into the game.
So yeah, this is a crap remaster, and definitely not worth $60 considering that Rockstar barely put 60 seconds of effort into it. In fact, they put 0 seconds of effort into it considering that they outsourced their own remaster to a company called Groove Street Gaming, and I have a fucking wall of video games over there, and I've never heard of Groove Street Gaming in my life. Okay, so I figured out how to get the remaster version on the PS5. All we have to do is take the PS2 version and insert it into the PS5, and now we wait for it to download. I'm not sure if I should be worried about my PS5 or those cop sirens in the distance.